Hi and welcome to Outwell and to the CONCORDE M from our Smart Air TC collection. So first of all, I just want to point out what the TC stands for. The TC is for technical cotton. That's because we are using our Outex AirTech fly sheet on here. This is a really good quality poly cotton material where it is 65% cotton and it's 35% polyester. So it's very, very long lasting and durable, and that's down to the fact that this material doesn't degrade anywhere near as quickly in UV degradation as the likes of polyester materials would do. Also, with this type of material, it's going to keep you nice and cool on a warm day because it's breathable. But likewise, on a cold day, it'll actually keep you a little bit warmer inside the tent too and a little bit more comfortable. It is naturally waterproof, although we do put a coating on the fly sheet as well, just to enable water to bead away and down off of the material itself. One very important point about this tent that sets it apart from a lot of other styles of tent is that we are using our Smart Air frame on here. So rather than your traditional steel or fiberglass poles, we have beams that are filled with air. Now what makes it a little bit different to the rest is that we use our one-go inflation technology. Now this allows us to inflate the tent from one single point and the whole thing will go up in one, and we'll just show you the details of that. So as I mentioned there then, we have this one single valve to inflate the entire tent. It's quite clearly marked on this side here. You'll see that it says air in. Just underneath here is where you'll find the valve itself, and all we have to do is just open this up and plug the pump into this valve here, and when we start to inflate, the whole tent will rise up within a matter of minutes. When it comes to taking the tent down, what you will find is that each of the beams has its own air out valve. So just at the bottom here, you'll see the valve here, and all we have to do is turn this around and the air will come out of these beams, making it really easy and simple to take the tent down as well. To pump the tent up, you use the pump that comes with it. So this pump is supplied, and it is a double action hand pump, so when you pull the handles up and push the handles down, you are pushing air into the tent. At the top of the pump, you'll find that you have this pressure gauge, so you can keep an eye on the pressure that you're inflating the tent to. Now we recommend inflating the tent between 8.7 and 11.6 psi, which represents 0.6 to 0.8 bar. So what that does mean is that we're putting a lot of air into these beams and getting a good amount of pressure in here. Obviously, the more pressure and the more air that's in these beams, the more solid they are, and therefore the more stable they are as well. So this tent is great in high wind conditions, because obviously there's actually nothing to go wrong. There's no poles to break or snap or anything like that. We'll just talk you through some more of the features on the outside of the tent. So all the way around the tent, we're using our floating guy lines. Now these are pre-attached, so you don't need to attach these yourself. At the top half of the guy line, you'll see that it is actually color-coded to match the color of the fly sheet. Then at the bottom, we have our classic luminous guy lines here, hopefully to stop you from tripping over these quite as easily. Each of the guy lines does have its own retainer, so when it comes to packing down the tent, we can wrap the guy lines up and just pop them into these Velcro loops at the top here, so that the next time you come to use the tent, the guy lines are easily accessible. We also give you our easy pegging system with the CONCORDE M. Now that's where we supply 3 different styles of peg with the tent. We have the solid steel pegs here for the 4 corners, and these would go into the grey pegging points. We then have the black plastic peg here, which is for all of the black pegging points around the edges of the tent. And we have the luminous peg, obviously, to go with the luminous guy lines. So it's nice and easy for you to make sure that you get the right peg in the right place. Something else I just want to highlight on the side of the tent here is this handy rain-safe entrance. So this is obviously here just to give you a little bit of shelter on this side door here if it is a little bit wet or drizzly. Also at the front of the tent, what you will have probably noticed is that we have this really large front canopy on here. Now this is great because obviously, yep, again it gives you good shelter from any rain or drizzle on the front door, but also if you're lucky enough for it to be nice and sunny, then it does give you some good shaded area from the midday sun. The way it's used is with a steel pole at the front here. So this is the only sort of main large pole of the tent is on the canopy. We then have these storm straps on the front here just to keep the whole canopy secure when it's a little bit more windy. Really easy to attach. It simply just zips onto the front of the tent, but obviously that also enables you to have the choice as to whether you use this canopy or not. So just here, what you will see is that we have some ventilation pods on the front of the tent. If I just take this Velcro strap away, on the inside you'll see that there is a mesh panel on the inside there. Now there is more ventilation towards the back of the tent as well, which we'll show you from the inside. So the tent has good sized windows all the way around, and these are tinted windows, so it serves two key functions. One would be obviously to reflect some of the rays of sunshine from the inside of the tent, keeping you a bit more comfortable, and the second is obviously to give you good privacy as well. If you do want more privacy, then these curtains can just be zipped up, and you can choose exactly how much light or how much privacy you're getting. The front door has a large window, as do the side doors as well, so there is windows all the way around the tent. The door at the moment, you can see we have just rolled away. It's a large D-door style, so it rolls to the side like this. And again, as I just mentioned, there is a large window with a curtain on there as well. So just highlight a great feature at the front of the tent here, and that's that the ground sheet will sit nice and flat. You'll just see there are a couple of eyelets either side here of the door that would just allow you to peg this down, making it nice and flat for easy access in and out of the tent. Of course though, when you zip the door over, what you can do is fold that piece of material up, and you'll just notice that there is a zip along the front of the ground sheet here, which then zips onto the door, creating a fully sealed and waterproof entrance. So coming into the tent itself, it's a good height tent. I'm quite tall at around 6'3", and I can stand up in here no problem at all. Plenty of floor space as well for the likes of furniture and storage units and things like this. One thing I want to point out is just at the top here where our beams are. So this centre beam here, you can see attaches the middle beam to the front, and then there's another beam at the back which attaches the back beam, and that just allows us, as I said earlier on, to inflate the tent from one single position. Now what we have here is some shut-off valves, so what we can do is once the tent is inflated is just turn these round to this position here, which would be the off position. That way you're then separating all of the beams, and you'll find that there is one of these on each connecting part. Now what that allows for is, in the unlikely event of something going wrong, the whole tent won't deflate. What you will find is that then separates each of these beams, making it nice and easy to repair or replace. So some other great features then is that the ground sheet that I mentioned before is fully sealed from front to back and side to side. Now what you will find is that it's a bathtub style ground sheet, so it comes up at the edges, which you can just see here. So that's going to stop any drafts from coming in. It's going to keep out things like dirt, dust and sand, and hopefully more importantly keep out those unwanted creepy crawlies as well. Just above my head here you'll see that we do supply a handy mesh storage basket, which just clips into position and is obviously adjustable using these straps. Now obviously you don't have to use this, it does just clip in. Another thing that this tent has is great ventilation. As I've already mentioned, the material itself is breathable. We have a couple of ventilation panels at the front and more at the back, which we'll show you shortly. But what I do want to highlight is that the two side entrances have these full mesh doors on them as well. So we can roll up the outside door, and then we can leave the zipped mesh door down, like I say, giving great ventilation within the tent, but also again keeping out those unwanted bugs. At the back of the tent is where we have the bedrooms, and the really nice feature here is that these bedrooms actually come pre-attached. So the first time that you pitch this tent, these bedrooms are already in place. Now the tent can sleep up to 5 people, and we have 2 size bedrooms. We have a 3-person and a 2-person here. The way that we attach the bedroom to the tent is using our wave-shaped hanging point system, which is very nice in terms of design and the way that it looks, but it also has a great function of taking any of the stress off of this top seam of the bedroom as well. What you'll also find is that we have some handy storage pockets on the outside of the bedrooms. We have large ventilation panels on the bedroom doors, which you can see do have curtains behind here, so we've just got that zipped up at the moment. But we can open up that curtain behind there if you do want better ventilation within the bedrooms too. Also at the back, as I did point out earlier, we have a large mesh ventilation panel which corresponds to an outside panel on the tent. Down here we have some handy storage pockets running the full length of the bedroom, so these are ideal for smaller personal possessions. The bedrooms are separated with this zipped sheet here, so of course you can open this up to create one large bedroom, or you can have it here, as I mentioned, splitting it to a 3-person and 2-person bedroom. Another nice feature on here is that we're using our universal inner. So in between here there is a zip that runs between the 2 bedrooms, and we'll just show you now how the inner works. So just behind the entrance to the tent, what you will find is there's a lantern hanging point in a good central location just here. Then leading away from that, we have cable tidies that run all the way down this beam, down to where we have a cable entry point. So you can just see here, actually, we're running a cable in through here, and that allows us, if we wanted to actually zip this door down completely, but still having access into the tent for any cables coming in. If you're looking for optional extras for the CONCORDE M, there's certainly plenty to choose from. We have two different styles of carpet for the living area here, including a fleece carpet and a 3-layered insulated carpet, of course, giving you that little bit of comfort underfoot. There is also a footprint available to go under the tent, so that when you pitch it, you can pitch it on top of that, so that then when you take the tent down, the underside of this ground sheet is going to be nice and clean and dry. There's also a front extension available that would sit in place of this canopy, and there's also a front awning available for it as well, so plenty to choose from. So there is all the features of our CONCORDE M from our Smart Air TC collection. Thanks very much for watching.